Hey Playmore fans, welcome back to another week of the PPL where it has been a rough start to say the least. Some very unfortunate turns against Linz last week that I definitely feel like revolved around the entire game, and then a throw the week before. And of course we had the loss against Vandy week 1. Definitely feels like it's rough because I feel like my only true loss is the week 1. But even then, week 2 was also extremely close. So, like, nothing has been smooth sailing with this team. I think not having elite speed is definitely part of it, but we're still looking to do fine and do well for the rest of the league. Always trying to make playoffs, of course. Gonna ignore the fact of how much time I spent on Legends ZA because everyone else is in the same boat anyways. This is not an excuse. So that being said, I'm gonna pop up Ellie's team real quick. And you can see that she has the Terapagos she stole from us. Garchomp, Weavile, Terra Mew, Terra Sinistra, the Tentacool she stole from us, Cobalion, Enamorous Therian, Electros, Emboar, Trapinch with Terra, and Surskit. That being said, it's not Mega Eel and Mega Emboar. Just go throw that out there. But the team is pretty interesting, pretty well balanced. Has a lot of like setup options that really just depends on her matchup of which one she wants to go for. But then still like a really solid breaker and Weavile, and I guess if you want to consider Emboar. Trapinch is funny. I think she's already brought it once this season. But then she has a few good ground immunities as well, so it makes it kind of interesting for her entire team. That being said, I'm going full offense. And we're just going to see how it goes. So first up, we have Choice Band Rillaboom. Looks extremely strong into her team. Yes, she has the Sinistra, but that is fine because Sinistra is good at my team in general. It's honestly possible that she opts to not even Terra it. She still might though, depending on the situation. She'll probably have a good defensive Terra that she might want to go into. But I feel like a setup offensive Terra Mew is probably what we're going to be seeing. I'm most scared of Terra Dragon Mew. But we do have Choice Band Rillaboom to do plenty of damage into the team. Otherwise, with Grassy Glide is the main priority to help revenge certain things. Mainly just Grassy Glide, plus you can already see Palafin on the screen. Jet Punch really helps me deal with any of their setup options for the most part. Wood Hammer does crazy damage into the entire team. Knock off to remove items and hit Sinistra for super effective damage as needed. And then U-turn, obviously, for momentum. We are max HP, max attack. This is really just to punish her entire team, and Rillaboom already kind of naturally outspeeds most of the things it wants to. You know, things like Emboar and stuff would want to go into a lot of bulk. And if you are looking deep into the matchup chart, you can see that it says 60 speed for Terapagos. For some reason, this document considers the other Terapagos stats. So just a reminder, Terapagos is 85. There was no reason for me to really want to speed tie that with Rillaboom. It just feels like unnecessary, considering a Terra Star Storm would blow me back since I'm not a Soul Vest anyways. So. And then next up, to pair with the Grassy Terrain, we have a Grassy Seed Deoxys Defense with the stored power that I wasn't able to use 2 weeks ago. So hopefully we can do it this time, because their Dark type is only Weavile. So we have Calm Mind, Stored Power, Drain Punch, and Recover. Even with the minus attack nature, Drain Punch is always going to consistently 2-KO Weavile, even if it's in Grassy Terrain. And also because of my defense investment at +1, even like Adamant Knockoff, I'm healing just as much as they're dealing, if not more. The only thing that they might be doing a little bit more is obviously if it's Bandit Knockoff. But that's the benefit of the Grassy Seed, is I lose my item and get the defense raise. So the main reason, or the main way they want to revenge this then gets limited heavily. And then when it comes down to the Calm Mind War against Sinistra, I'm winning 1v1 if, you know, the... I guess I can just say it now and hopefully I don't jinx it. The Spadef drops don't come into play, or of course like a crit when it comes to those Shadow Balls. But Mew can also be a little bit interesting on whether or not we're easily able to beat that. But this isn't my main win condition, as you can tell with the entire team. Anything can kind of just win, given whatever opens the door for the other. So. And then next we do have Hawlucha here. You would think another Grassy Seed, but no. Because of her setup that she has on her team that I'm a little bit worried about, I do have a Mirror Herb Unburdened setup Hawlucha with Encore. So I'm going to try and make more of a ballsier play if it's in a situation where I know this is definitely your win con based off of how the team has played so far. Or even if I think it has a chance of setting up, I'm going to go hard Lucha. Get my Unburden with the Mirror Herb, and then no matter what they go for, I outspeed them, even if it's the agility on Terapagos, or even if it's agility on Mew, I'm still going to outspeed because of my speed investment. And we're getting the +2 with Unburden. Well, I guess then I'm getting the Mirror Herb +2 speed as well, so it goes without saying. But mainly it's like Garchomp, if I come in on the Swords Dance as they try to do SD Scale Shot, which it's very interesting. Garchomp can very easily be its 2 best sets in either Tank Chomp or just Scale Shot. Like, both sets are pretty darn good in my team. That being said, I can come in, claim their SD, Encore them into SD if I want to, because it's kind of free not to do it. Unless I think I can already pick up the kill, but more than likely I'm not going to be able to straight up Oko Garchomp without getting a little bit of chip on it, is my guess. So, but looking pretty good in the endgame. And then next we have a Life Orb Blaziken with Terra Ghost. This is just our lead. Like, I'm just straight up going to be a menace and start the game with it. Swords Dance, Terra Blast Ghost, Flare Blitz, and Close Combat. The Flare Blitz move slot was the hardest one to figure out, honestly. I debated a few things, but Flare Blitz at the end of the day, if she is like a defensive and Amorous Therian is like one of her checks to like part of my team, between Hawlucha and Blaziken and Rillaboom, then Swords Dance Flare Blitz with an Adamant Life Orb at +2 just still Oko's a max defense and Amorous Therian, which kind of blew my mind because that turtle is crazy fat. We'll take a whole bunch of damage, but that really opens the door once again for Rillaboom and Hawlucha. So that's what I really love there. And then of course Terra Blast Ghost, Terra Ghost, we become immune to Terapagos' Terra Starstorm. There is a chance that they run Dark Pulse in fear of like Air Balloon Goldango, but there is another chance that they just don't, and they just run Earth Power because Earth Power hits both Goldango and Diancie. But if they want to make sure that they're not getting walled, then they might do something else. It's just tough because they can't. I don't think they can have just 2 especially offensive moves, Rapid Spin and Calm Mind, and get away with it in my team, just because of Diancie plus Goldango and the fear of Air Balloon. Now, because I really wanted to bring Air Balloon. I think it's great into the team, but you'll see what I opted with instead. So it'll be interesting what the Terapagos actually decides to bring, but this is really good for breaking early game. And we can also blow away the Mew. If they go hard into a defensive Tentacruel, I'm pretty sure a Life Orb, Flare Blitz, or Close Combat puts them in range of just a Terra Blast afterwards, unless they're like max defense Black Sludge. So. And then next up we have Palafin with the Choice Band, no surprise here. We have Jet Punch, Wave Crash, Flip Turn, and Encore. Encore and a Choice Band set, you might be like, what? Once again, I just want to punish the potential setup. I originally had like Zen Headbutt, and I debated Close Combat of course, because of Terapagos. But I really didn't want to lock into something that would then give something else too much momentum against my team. Being if I have Zen Headbutt and I lock into that, then Weavile can come in. If Weavile gets an SD, then that's extremely scary, because an SD Ice Shard can of course like just knock out my Rillaboom and I don't get my Grassy Glide off, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to get the chip in order for Jet Punch to be able to KO, which is just a little bit of chip, which is the main thing. And then the other thing with Close Combat is, letting Sinistcha set up for free, or a Amorous Therian set up for free. It's not an immunity, but it is a quad resist on a pretty defensive Pokemon, so it practically is. So I just want to be cautious of that, and Encore just felt better. So like, if I'm in a situation where once again I'm fearing the setup and I don't want to like risk Hawlucha maybe, for example, and I know I can get the kill otherwise, I can just go Palafin and I can have Encore or whatever it is. And it's mainly for those slower setup options, obviously. Everything else it's getting a little bit riskier. And then next we have Goldango with the Choice Scarf, just to provide my team with a little bit more speed. And then also having the ability to trick into any of these things to limit their setup as well, with Make It Rain, Shadow Ball, Focus Blast, and Trick. Focus Blast, obviously, I'd rather not click, but is just in case for the Terapagos. And we do have enough speed with a Modest Nature still to produce plenty of damage. So the speed is to make sure I outspeed Weavile with my Choice Scarf, max speed Weavile. And then my special attack investment is left over because the amount of HP I have is to make sure I can live a +1 Flamethrower or Earth Power from Terapagos. So keeping that in mind, the team is pretty offensive. Nothing else to really say about that. I think it's going to do fine. Like I said, my only worry is like Terra Dragon Mew. I'm not too scared of Garchomp because the Scale Shot set, although scary on paper in terms of the sweeping potential, I mean, it can't Terra, and because it's lowering its defense with Skill Shot, Grassy Glide, and Jet Punch Cleanup just makes it feel so much easier to deal with. So, I guess a very niche Sinistcha might be annoying. It's like I'm not even worried about a double dance setup, an Amorous Therian, because I have 2 things of Encore. So I have ways to work around this team, I feel like. I guess it's just at the end of the day, it's trying to figure out the correct Terapagos, and I guess a bulky Garchomp lead can be a little bit more annoying for what my Blaziken initially wants to do. So we will see. I'm excited about the game though, and then we'll see when Ellie is ready for the match. Okay, everyone, we are here doing a post-commentary against Ellie. I noticed at the very start of recording that my microphone wasn't moving in OBS, but at the same time it said it was connected. So, guess what didn't save? My audio. So we're doing a fun post-com here, but I'll try and keep it to what I was just doing as I just had the battle in terms of kind of somewhat live commentary and what I was thinking. So, apologies in advance, crap happens. So we see Ellie brought Sinistcha, Terapagos, Garchomp, Mew, Weavile, all of those are no surprise, and then Electros, which I think is totally fair into my team. And then my plan here is still going to lead Blaziken. The Terras on their side are Terra Water Sinistcha, which is no surprise. That makes Rillaboom definitely more important to keep around, otherwise it could be an issue killing that thing. And then we have Terra Grass Mew, which just like Terra Dragon still screams setup. So I do have to be cautious of that. If I can make it, my first reaction in live commentary was if I can force the Mew to Terra Grass either in the face of Rillaboom or Palafin, and then go hard into Mirror Herb Hawlucha on their Dragon Dance, oh my god, I lose my mind. So that's what I'm hoping for here. But then looking at the rest of the team, they can like lead with a very quite a few things, honestly. Like Tank Jump was my main worry, because obviously that just makes Blaziken more useless. At least I break it, practically kill the Garchomp or get it extremely low, but at the same time I'd rather be able to do more to the team if it wasn't tank, you know? So keeping that in mind, we'll see what Blaziken can do here. Terra Ghost obviously does look good for both Sinistcha and Mew, forcing them at least one to Terra if one of them comes in. At the very least, Blaziken's going to be able to force her to use her Terra Shell early, so... And we see she leads off with the Weavile, so this is literally best case scenario for me, unless it's Focus Sash. Focus Sash can obviously be a little bit worse. However, I am just going to click Swords Dance. I went into Showdown here first, and I immediately double checked what other things can you hit me with except Power Herb Dig. I knew that could have been a thing, and if she had it, she cooked. And it's whatever. But I'm just going to click Swords Dance and accept whatever fate comes my way. So... Blaziken can definitely punch a few holes in this area. I know at +2 I can even take out a max defensive Eel. Max defensive Mew I'm pretty sure still dies to a Life Orb, Adamant Life Orb Flare Blitz, or at the very least it's a roll. Sinistcha, once again, when it comes down to the Terra, that's where it gets a little bit annoying, because it is Terra Water. It's obviously do I click Close Combat in front of its face calling the Terra, but if I click Flare Blitz, then I still deal with it. And it's the proper answer is Terra Ghost, first of all. But it's whatever. And we see we go Eel here. I'm okay, this is kind of just a free kill for me. I still went into my damage calc and double checked how much I do to a max defensive Eel. I did decide to not Terra and go for Terra Blast just in case it was max defensive, because it could easily be max defensive AV just to be a pivot against my team. This Terra Blast would have not killed. Close Combat easily kills here. That being said, I went for CC, and we, like I said, we always know we pick up the kill unless it's a random Sash, and Sash Eel would have been the first time in existence ever a Focus Sash has been on Electros. But we're able to pick up the KO there. Blaziken gets his 1 for the game. And we get our speed boost once again. So we're not worried about anything that wants to come out in general, because even after +1 we were outspeeding Weavile, but now we outspeed any Choice Scarfers on their team as well. I think they're just forced to go into Terapagos here. That was all I was saying. And then if they go into Sinistcha, at least I'm able to force the Terra early, which puts me in a better situation. If they go Mew, they shouldn't. They just die, no matter what their Terra is, because of Flare Blitz. Because they're Terra Grass, nothing can save them there, and the neutral hit still kills if they stay Psychic. Garchomp, I'm not as worried now. So if they were max defensive, they would eat a Close Combat, but considering they didn't lead it and they led Weavile, I didn't think it'd be Tank Jump. So I'm going to stay in and click CC either way. But I felt like that was just giving me a kill if that happens. So she rightfully takes the time to figure out what she's doing here, and then does go into Terapagos. So Terra Shell, which is funny, I actually debated being double kick, but then I remembered Terra Shell does not work like that. It's not like multi-scale. It lasts for the entire move. So whether it's triple axle, double kick, whatever, it eats all of them as a resisted hit. So here I obviously need a Terragos in case of a Starstorm. It's whatever. I am going to opt to Flare Blitz though, because there is a chance I can still live if I go for Flare Blitz and I take recoil with them not being HP invested. But if I go for CC and I drop my special defense again, then I will definitely die to whatever neutral hit they want to go for in like Earth Power or Flamethrower. But if they have the Dark Pulse, they should definitely just click it here and call me out on it. So, but at the very least, I am breaking Shell and getting this Terapagos well beneath half. So, go for Flare Blitz, and we do roughly 60%. At the time, I definitely overlooked the calc, and I thought this was probably just offensive. Definitely showed to be max HP. As she goes for substitute. And I was like, this is okay. I mean, if anything, the Terapagos is now just lower, and it gives me more information. If she just had clicked Earth Power there, I think there was a strong chance I still died. Actually, no, I know I died because I did the calc afterwards, because it turns out she's max HP, practically max special defense, or max special attack, sorry. But she has some speed, but a modest nature is the important takeaway here. So she did kill me with Flamethrower if she went with it on the prior turn, but now we're able to break sub. No, it has sub. And she goes for the Flamethrower here and does KO Blaziken. So Blaziken does get the sweep. I didn't expect it to get the sweep, to be very clear. The reason I didn't SD again against Electros is the odds that it had Dragon Tail. However, it didn't. So legitimately, if I SD'd again against the Eel, there was just a straight up chance I could have won the game, because we had a 50% chance to KO Terapagos from full, even with Terra Shell, which is wild. But whatever. Blaziken will get his moment, you know, when I decide to actually protect or play smart. I debated a few things here to make sure I was getting the most value for what I wanted. The thing was, I was debating Rillaboom to get up terrain and like start pivoting, but there was the chance that the Terapagos was faster, and I really didn't want to take all that unnecessary damage. Obviously, I can't go Deoxys yet because I need grassy terrain up to begin with. I thought it was better just to get Palafin activated, because to go ahead and get Hero Form is going to make a big difference in the late game. Especially with Jet Punch being available for that Weavile, potential Scale Shot Chomp, Mew, if it doesn't Terra, etc. Even if the Mew does Terra, it's necessary priority, you know? So I'm in the calc here, and I'm like, okay, Flip Turn has a chance to like not KO if she does have a lot of HP, which, again, at the time, I messed up. I thought she was fully offensive. But even if it does not kill, it is totally fine. I can go hard in the Goldengo, which I know I always live a hit, and then I threaten the KO the next turn. So, Flip Turn is 100% my safest play, and if she swaps it, at least I get the information on something else. So she's definitely in an awkward spot here, because it's like you can keep the Terapagos if you want, purely for like Goldengo, is kind of the main thing. Otherwise, it doesn't really have a benefit against the rest of my team, apart from just being a sack. But she does have a good switch in Sinistcha, which is what makes this a reasonable decision in order to switch and save it for a sack later. Potentially get up a sub, be a little bit annoying. So they do go Sinistcha. We see we do absolutely nothing, and it's just telling me it's max defense, which is no surprise at all considering it's Terra Water. And I'm just going to go straight into Rillaboom here just to get my grassy terrain up, because I really want to get Deoxys defense going, and put her in a situation to get Mew out there eventually to where I can get on a Hawlucha and to potentially get that part of me being able to copy with Mirror Hurt. So that was the process here. Banded Knockoff doesn't KO Sinistcha if they stay normal. There's no reason no way ever they Terra Water in front of Rillaboom, especially when Mew is more than likely their win condition. Could be Garchomp, but Mew's definitely a strong one potentially, especially being the Terra to resist my priorities. So Terra tells you a lot in Open Terra. if you prep properly. And then here with Rillaboom, like I said, knock off free. If they stay in and they click like Will-O-Wisp or something, it sucks. I can still kill the next turn, or at least force them to Terra once again. I can also like go hard Goldango the following turn if like I really wanted to here. But knock off just felt absolutely free. There's no reason for me not to click it. And they do opt to swap here into Garchomp, and I was like, oh my god, is it actually a Rocky Helmet Garchomp? And we go for the knockoff. We do decent damage here. Doing under 50% tells me she's not fully offensive, so she does have some HP investment on this thing. We take away a Life Orb. So at the time, I was very like confused with what it could be for the most part, and it didn't click that she's probably mixed. Seeing that now, it definitely makes sense. I debated about my play here. There was a few things I could do. Scale Shot didn't make sense on the Life Orb set. But at the same time, I wasn't sure what was about to happen. I couldn't go hard Goldango, even though Garchomp doesn't get high horsepower. But if it was special and I went for Earth Power, I knew I was screwed. Hard Palafin didn't feel good because I don't kill the next turn with Jet Punch. And if it is a speedy Garchomp, of course it's going to outspeed me. And if it just clicked Outrage the following after, or if it was 2 Outrages, I could like lose Palafin and stuff. So I did a lot of damage calcs here to figure out my best route, and I said I think it's just time to let Dio be Dio and see what I can do. So because we are going to get the defense raise upon switching thanks to our Grassy Seed, and we can definitely become more of a menace against our team. So we get our Grassy Seed activated upon switching as she shows just to go for spikes. And yes, those spikes are going to stay the rest of the game. I don't have hazard removal. Another reason, a little surprised she didn't opt to lead this because I didn't have removal brought to this game. But now this just puts me in a situation to call mine. Like if it's Dragon Tail, well, first off, Sea Life Orb, I definitely don't expect it to be Dragon Tail. So that's why it lets me kind of like set up for free, which is the main thing, which was also part of my reason for going into this. So now I could just get to see how much damage this can do, and specifically what Mew do I have to deal with. That's the good thing about getting this Deoxys out early, is I know how to play the rest of my game. So this Calm Mind, just in general, getting the defense boost here definitely puts her in a scary position. I think it kind of screams that I'm probably the stored power set, but it's totally fine because it can do plenty of work either way. As she does opt to switch out her Garchomp, there's also a chance, of course, it just eats an Ice Beam or something like that and drops. As she goes back into Terapagos here as I go for Calm Mind. So, funny enough, actually, I checked stored power. Oh wait, no, after the Grassy Terrain, she definitely gets out of range. Stored power definitely had a chance to pick up before, but after Leftovers and Grassy Terrain, she's 1,000,000% out of it. So the passive healing hurting me a little bit, but at the same time, I got my defense boost activated, so I'm doing fine there. I know this is potentially going to be a Calm Mind Terra Starstorm variant, so it definitely could come down to a few crits. That's what I was expecting here. It was either, well, there's a few routes she could go. It all depended on her set. So it was either going into Terapagos and doing this here, going into Sinisha and doing the same thing, but risking a healthier Mon with Terra, or being a hard counter Mew, and she can go into that. So not going Mew first definitely tells me it's not like taunt or anything like that, and it's not something I need to worry about. She goes for Terra Starstorm, no crit. We definitely chew that up after being at +1, and now we're at +2. If I do go for stored power here, I believe I pick up the KO with her being at neutral. However, the Calm Minds, once again, just feel absolutely free. And without the boost, I do even live the crit. So then I can still recover the following turn at +3. It would take 2 crits to kill me from here is the main thing. So she goes for a Calm Mind of her own, and that definitely makes this a little bit more annoying. Technically, I win the Endeavor because of my stored power getting boosted more and more, but I have to take more time to get it as strong as her Starstorm, if that makes sense. So, and then once again, it just comes down to risking crits. So. But this time here, I know from where I'm at, I can still pick up the KO on her. However, Starstorm feels completely free for her here, so I'm going to go for the Recover to try and eat the hit and then get back to full. Now that she's at +1, if she crits me, I probably die, or it's a roll for sure. So you can see I debated the stored power, but then just looking at calcs, remembering what the rest of her team is, I want to stay as healthy as possible. I went for stored power instead. I'm a turn ahead, and this is what happens when you post commentary, folks. Make sure that your microphone is working. Holy crap, is that actually a sign for me to make sure my microphone's working again? Okay, I'm still talking into the mic. We are totally fine here. But she does go for the other Calm Mind. So that Calm Mind does allow her to live the stored power now. But that's totally fine because I can get her with the next one. Ironically, if she didn't get that leftovers recovery there, Drain Punch would have killed, which would have been funny. But at the same time, there's really no reason to show that yet. Because now that I know she's +2 versus my +3, Starstorm is going to be doing around 35% or so. So I definitely want to recover here to get back to full. So worst case scenario, I'm around like 65-70%. Following her picking up another Starstorm hit. So we go for the recover. We're practically at full. Her getting more leftovers here doesn't really mean anything to me. I just want to get the stored power off here. There's no reason for me to, one, risk her behind getting a sub on like something passive I do and having more turns to crit me, or two, just risking more crits in general. So we are at 199 HP here, which I think is like probably around 60% or so. And I'm like, I am feeling good. I am looking good. This really depends on what the Mew is and whether or not I can beat it. With my current set, if I was going to be going in and facing an offensive Mew, I think I was doing around 35% with my stored power. Or 30, probably closer to 30%. So, because we do have the 3 Calm Minds, boosting special attack, special defense, and then of course the +1 in defense thanks to our Grassy Seed. This is a set that I've been looking forward to running since the very beginning. When I got Dio Defense with Rillaboom, I knew it would come into play at one point, so I was happy. She goes Weavile here, and I'm like, okay, I mean, if this is knockoff, this isn't doing as much as you think, and I recover it all. So I was like, maybe she's just trying to put me in range or something, but she does so Throat Chop, and I was just like, holy crap, and your Choice Band too, for it to do that much with me being at +1. We do a significant amount with Drain Punch, and I checked the calc, was like, okay, it's fine. If she's Jolly Choice Band, we always live. I'm at 52%. At the very least, Deoxys gets 2 KOs, and removes the Weavile. I was like, but there is no way I am going to recover stall in front of this thing and just risk a crit and not get the full longevity out of Deoxys that I could. Considering I know I guarantee live this hit if she's Dolly, I can just click Drain Punch, remove it, I'm happy. As she goes for Throat Chop here, she gets the kill. I was like, was that a crit? And nope, she's just Adamant Choice Band Weavile. So I know for a fact that is her set, so I can use it to my benefit for the rest of this game. Obvious thing right here is I can go Hawlucha and set up for free. The one downside is I'm not getting my Mirror Herb procced in order to not only give me the speed boost with Unburden, but boost the damage of my acrobatics. So what I was debating here was either going into my Rillaboom or going into my Hawlucha. I felt like those were my two best plays, Rillaboom being max HP just to take the Choice Band Throat Chop like it actually can. And I can just click U-turn to gain momentum because that helps me against anything on our team whatsoever. Or I can go with Lucha and just try setting up, because I think realistically if I set up as they go hard in the Mew, they might want to set up in front of my face in order to beat me 1v1, because I will take like a Psychic Fangs from full. I did look into that. So now if it was a Psychic, that might have killed me. But I don't know why. I was definitely expecting more physical than special on Mew this week. So like I said, I am just going to SD. Technically, no, I don't think Throat Chop 2 KO'd me, but there's just no reason for her to risk this, especially when it's likely Choice Banded Ice Shard, which I did do the calc. If I take any rough skin damage from Garchomp, unfortunately, I will be in range of a Banded Ice Shard afterwards. So Hawlucha is not sweeping by any means necessary. However, I'm once again just setting up the end game for either Golden Go to spam Shadow Ball, Palafin to spam Jet Punch, Rillaboom to spam Grassy Glide, anything of the sort. That's kind of what I'm just aiming for. Which, if this Hawlucha is able to get up and going, then I can even force Terra on Sinistra. But at the very least, Hawlucha's going to be able to do some damage here. So I was looking in the calcs, and I was like, I'm just going to SD again as she Dragon Dances, then that's absolutely fire. At least I get a funny kill before Weavile comes in and murders me. which was funny because I did debate Drain Punch over Close Combat. But no, I guess it didn't matter. It still would have got me weak enough. Yeah, whatever. But I go for SD again because unfortunately not losing my item Acrobatics is so weak. Ironically, Close Combat actually does more to the resist to hit on Mew than Acrobatics. We take the Flare Blitz damage here. It does a good amount, definitely telling me it's physically offensive. Unfortunately, she didn't Dragon Dance. And she's leftover, so I found that very interesting. I was just like, okay. Unfortunately, I didn't get activated. Acrobatics is still going to be weak here, but I get significant damage off on Mew. And if she tries to set up this time around, then same thing happens, like the following turn, you know? I at least get a guaranteed KO on something. So, as I choose to click Acrobatics here, she takes some time. I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want to play my endgame here. And I think just, once again, throwing my setup out, doing as much damage to her team to let my strong priority and my strong choice scarfer win the game definitely seems like the best option. So, we go for Acrobatics as she just goes into Garchomp here, and Garchomp gives us the rough skin and does live, but I'm like, interesting. She didn't swap for some reason. Maybe she was just fearing Brave Bird or Throat Chop on me that would actually be able to pick up the go, but she should have known. Or maybe she was just banking on, well, no, on Burden you have to lose your item. Well, Acrobatics, you know, still would have been able to kill if I just came without an item, but no item Halucha is funny. Because you never get the Unburden boost. I don't know. But either way, we're able to pick up the kill on Garchomp, and I was like, cool, Halucha at least did something. Yep, here comes the Weavile. This was definitely expected as the revenge killer. If she calls my calcs and everything, she doesn't even have to lock in an Ice Shard, unfortunately, but I just go for Close Combat just in case. And I was like, wait, she's swapping? Is she going Sinistra just to, like, ball on me? But no, she actually goes hard into Mew here. And it took me a second to realize this, but she was scouting for Upper Hand. Because Upper Hand on Halucha obviously would have destroyed Weavile, and I'll prioritize the Ice Shard. So smart for her, but unfortunately for her, she overthought it. And then just seeing this, knowing that the Mew probably could have just KO'd me earlier on. A little bit more awkward, but Halucha is able to pick up another KO at least. I think I was still in a good position, especially once I got the chip on Garchomp, which is the main thing here, for Goldango to more than likely clean up the endgame, even with Sinistra having Terra available to it. So Weavile comes back out. I'm once again just clicking, and she does show Ice Shard. So her being adamant, I guess she didn't risk me having the chance of outspeeding even without the item boost. Even though I was adamant myself. I'm assuming she would be adamant enough speed to outspeed adamant Halucha, but maybe not. So, and then we have Goldango come out. This is absolutely free, not only because it's locked into Ice Shard, but I resist the hit anyways. And if you go hard into Sinistra, not only do you have a chance of dying potentially, but enough damage to where even if you Terra the next turn, you die. So this just full up claims me a KO. Palafin, like, yes, in theory, could have been a play just to go in and then flip turn, but this one for sure got me the damage to secure a kill as needed. And the thing is, if Sinistra doesn't Terra, Goldango knocks it out. If Sinistra does Terra, Rillaboom knocks it out. Because there's no way for Sinistra, well no, Sinistra does get Iron Defense, but also the other benefit here is my Palafin does have Encore. So I was even thought about it here is like, do I want to just like go hard into Palafin and Encore? But no, because I looked at the Shadow Ball damage once again. If she doesn't Terra, I just have an outright chance to KO. If she does Terra and doesn't Call Mind, then I can just 2-hit KO anyways. And with my HP investment, if she's not offensive, I probably live I do live the Shadow Ball. So that being said, she does opt to Terra to no surprise into her Terra Water, letting her resist to make it rain. No, I would never click that obviously, but also being choice locked. So we go for the Shadow Ball, get the Spadef drop, so even if she Calm Minds, it's guaranteed gain here or whatever. And she goes for Terra Water Scald, which is pretty cool. Does a decent amount of damage, but not enough for her. Unfortunately, she was banking on me swapping into one of my Pokemon, getting the burn, and she can win that way. But we just click Shadow Ball one more time, pick up the KO, and we do get the 3-0 win. Showing the all-out offense completely just made it impossible for her to deal with, so that was nice. I'm not gonna be able to do that every week, and I understand that. But it was still good, and it was great games to Ellie. Really appreciate the match, and we got a bounce back win. That's the main thing. So we're 2-3 now. Obviously, still fighting for a chance at playoffs for the later part of the season. So looking forward to that, and I hope you guys look forward to the next battle.